Welcome to Politic'in East of the River.
Where community meets strategy.
Culture meets accountability, and the people finally get the microphone. um, I'm excited to be here today
Yeah.
on this episode.
hmm
Chilling outside in nature, bare feet on the ground, grounding.
Yeah.
For this conversation.
Likewise. Today's conversation is just centered around just our mental health crisis, right? That we are in and that has been ignored. I feel like for the last 5 to 7 years, we've been really, really trying to push for alternative healing methods, right? Especially when it comes to our just dealing with our mental and spiritual health. So today we're going to be interviewing Babalawo Alejaibra at his healing house, which is so funny because when I took my advocacy training with DC Justice Lab, I had did my initiative on healing houses. And I was saying how we need them in the city and we need them to be culturally appropriate because everybody don't deal with their mental health the same way. Everybody don't heal from their mental health the same way. And then I got to come here and I was like, what is this place? I know I didn't just manifest this. Like, what is going on? And I mean, to walk and to see the different altars and to see the moment you walk into the house to feel the healing energy, just to just feel like, oh, wow, like this is what I was talking about. Not the complete vision of it, but just like the idea, right? And so mine was blown away and I've been on his coattail ever since. Like, we need these in the community. People need to learn, they need to see what this looks like so we can scale it and create more and we can have access. So I just want to start with just asking you just about just like your background. How did you get into your healing work? How did this manifest into your reality? So
Yeah, thank you for that. I remember when we first met, you made us meet, if that makes sense. A lot of times I'm hosting space here for many different organizations. People gather. The history of this space is people gather. So one of my friends was having a gathering, so of course I'm gonna speak and be cordial on things, but she kept asking questions and also made sure that I answered them completely. And from that's how we're here to today.
yeah.
Um, my healing journey started years ago. I am from North Carolina, um, and I come from a long line of healers, community advocates, people with gifts. It was very normal in my family. It was very normal where I grew up to talk about gifts.
Yeah.
So since I was younger, I was born what they say was special markings. I was a child that was born with a veil over my face. I had extra fingers, and my mother said I was so hot that she told him to get him off of me. He's burning me. And she says to this day, she calls me. She just called me about a couple of weeks ago and said, son, is it strange I can still feel your body heat on me? So I was one of those people who came here hot, ready to do some work. And because of that, I had a lot of elders that was able to guide me and prepare me for now. Goodness, it was some running, though.
Yeah.
I cannot say that to be chosen was something that I thought that I was chosen for. Everybody sometimes when they see your light, when they feel your energy, they gift you a pronoun. So they might say you feel like a pastor. They might say you feel like a whoever. And all of a sudden, it can be easily for you to try to perform those things. I didn't want to be those things. I wanted to be free.
Yeah. That's real.
This space was birthed from a place of a broken heart. I was heartbroken by the world. I was heartbroken by trying to create relationships. I was heartbroken by living outside of myself. And the one thing that I learned from those experiences is that the reason I was clinging on to them is because they woken up a side of me that I wasn't awakening to my own self. And that was some BS. I'm attached to something because it's making me feel good because I refuse to make my own self feel good. Or if it's making me feel good, I'm attached to something trying to get a feeling. It's almost like a dopamine, right? Almost like a drug. So I want to keep going back for that hit, even though I keep getting hit. You know, so I dared to figure out what I want to do. So what happens if I don't always show up? What happens if I honor what my mood is instead of what I feel is obligation, right? Um, how do I take myself on 51st dates? You know, what matters to me? And it began that journey. And then I was told I'm going to be moving. You know, I was told I'm going to be moving. I used to live in Congress Heights. And one day I woke up levitating. In true real life, I woke up levitating. The spirit was like, "You're gonna be moved. You're gonna move. Not worry about the who, the how, the when, the what. Just know where you want to go." And for me, I come from entertainment. I come from artistry. I come from healthcare. When I first moved to DC, I loved life on U Street because I managed artists. I was just out there all day and all night, right? So I wanted to be on U Street. I wanted to have enough room to house all my children, and I wanted to play my music as loud as I want. Those were my 3 agreements with Spirit, right?
Yeah.
And again, this is still wasn't thinking about healing other people. This was just me, Spirit telling me I'm gonna move, right?
Yeah.
So I download the app. When I download the app, the first house that pops up is this house, and it only made sense to not only come here, but to come here to share. If I say that I love people, if I say I love Black people, right, and I got tools for mental, emotional, spiritual freedom, yet I'm not sharing it with them, you know, this ain't gonna do good if I'm teaching you from Upper Marlboro. It ain't gonna really do good if I'm teaching you from certain parts of the Northwest. You know, I could be at the convention center, but I really convening when it comes to the healing other people, right? You know, so that's how I got here. I got here knowing that I want to create a beautiful world for my children. And I didn't know that in this process, so many more children will come to me, right? But I needed a world for, at the time, my son was still young. And I wanted a space where they can shine bright. They can throw glitter. They can paint butterflies in the sky, you know, and all those things. And it'd be safe for them.
Yeah.
And that's how I got here.
That's real. So it's funny because, you know, one of the things that I learned is that in moments of crisis, mental health crisis, there's like nowhere for our youth to go. We have about 16 beds across the entire city for someone who is in crisis. So what's happening is they're just locking our kids up, throwing them inside DYRS. CPEP is the place that would take them during crisis, but because they can't handle our kids in crisis, they kind of did a thing where they didn't say, "Oh, we're not going to accept Black kids." We said we're no longer going to accept Medicaid. 90% of Black kids with a mental health issue has Medicaid. Nobody is paying out of their pocket to deal with their mental health. So in my mind, just having just like holistic places that are community centered that people can go will be super beneficial. They just closed down 10 mental health agencies because they said that they weren't meeting their client requirements. They weren't doing the work that they say they were doing. So can you talk about how spiritual health and mental health is interconnected, and also speak to the fact of is it possible for people to heal if they're being cycled in and out of crisis?
Goodness to the gracious. So how can I get over the trigger if I'm still being triggered, you know? And shout out to that part of being a community space, to the amount of teachers that have called me to house children who, for whatever reasons, parents wouldn't let them come home anymore. You know, the amount of people who were in domestic violence situation and the parents had to go somewhere, and I had a house full of kids, you know, here. Organizations, you know, youth organizations, you know, that held big events here, you know, so providing the space. How does spirituality and mental health come together, right? So I feel like DC, since we're in Ward 8, we east of the river right now, we talking about here. these folks are experiencing soul loss. And if you don't know what soul loss is, then you're looking at depletion, and you're trying to create celebration. You know, um, soul loss from the fact that DC and folks here in Ward 8 have experienced more deaths than most people in regular society will ever experience in life. Yet they do it and expect to perform as norm. You know, these adults who are out here trying to be adults, trying to raise children, but they didn't get a chance to be raised because the crack epidemic took the parents out the house. The
And mass
drugs took
incarceration.
incarceration, right?
Mass
So many,
incarceration and the drug pandemic happening hand
yeah,
together.
yeah,
Yeah.
and you're expected to function, not realizing that you are the nation's capital. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now you have generations of functioning insanity. You know, that you're
Yeah.
supposed to go outside and be good in humanity, right?
Yeah.
When that ain't the truth.
Right.
You know, so now you're out here not realizing what your trigger is. Your stomach growling can be a trigger because where I'm gonna eat. Your feet hurting can be a trigger because where am I gonna rest? You know what I mean? So we're not realizing how this comes up. We're not spoken to. So these children are sensitive and highly gifted. Yet they've been ignored. They've been talked at harshly. They've been hit, and they've been expected to parent things that they were not born to parent. Navigate shadows that scare them, and supposed to walk and act like they tough and that they're okay. And people are walking by them and not seeing them yet, getting mad when they steal their car for fun. Because how else am I gonna get your attention or get mad when I create a space to go to create my own type of joy? And so what if we have a space where all of a sudden ancestral rage comes out and I gotta knock a brother out? You know what I mean? These folks are going through things that are real. These children are going through things that are real. These people in community are going through things that are real. And people have yes, I say, oh, one time it was fun to fund Medicaid before Medicaid made parameters to make sure these things really billable. So now that I'm not gonna just fund you easily no more, now you don't want to actually do what you say you're gonna do, which is heal, which is community health. You know, so now you can't afford to be in the community for the health.
Yeah.
You know, so Black people need 600 years off for reparations, because if we had 300 years of enslavement, of Jim Crow, of white supremacy, then how do you expect this to naturally be out of the DNA system?
Yep.
You know, so, and Black folks can't heal if they have to worry about their bills. So how are you expecting people to actually move forward when the fact that now the people find pleasure in their neighborhood, the taxes is going up? You know, so you're wanting me to be comfortable with you moving here, yet I can no longer afford to be here, and I'm hungry here, and you don't see me here because me being outside gathering my homies now is a threat to you.
Yeah. It's so funny because when they first started talking about gentrification, you know, I really didn't think at first that it was a bad thing, because in my mind, there was so much trauma tied to neighborhoods. There was so much trauma tied to households where moms had 4 sons she had lost in one neighborhood, where moms had, you know, heard the police ran in their house multiple times a year, living in that same neighborhood, but they didn't have the resources to move and they didn't have the resources to choose something different, but they wanted something different, right? And once I figured out, like, okay, the way they did it was wrong, it was like, okay, so yes, these people, gentrification was an opportunity for people to choose something different if they wanted to, but they wasn't afforded the oppression part, and the part that they didn't see was they wasn't afforded the proper way to do so.
Communities that are experiencing gentrification are at a 25% higher probability to go with undiagnosed depression. And that's 25% higher than communities that are already impoverished.
Right. But my thing is that you're already in that state, right? You're already, in my mind, you can't heal in the same environment that you got sick. So I can't, like, I don't do work in the neighborhood I grew up in. You know, I do work in other neighborhoods because sometimes it's just a little too close to home. My brother died in that same neighborhood. We moved away. You know what I'm saying? He came back. They killed him in an Uber. It's hard to go and do work in the same community sometimes that has caused you harm. And there are people who can, don't get me wrong, but you know, speaking to that, I guess my question would be, or what I'm getting to is just like, now it turns into like that healing justice, right? Because what happens is a lot of us that are from communities, we turn into advocates. We're still struggling like we were. We might be striving again to a place of thriving because we're learning the landscape and we're learning how to survive a little bit more efficiently. But we are still kind of suffering in a sense. So how does healing justice plays a part in the advocacy and the politics of everything that is going on?
Healing justice plays a part because if folks are being, if you're undiagnosed, then you're functioning not knowing you're sick.
And then you become an advocate. And you redirected that anger though, right? But what's happening on the flip side for you to heal that anger?
And now you put in a position where you have notoriety. So because you have notoriety, now you can't actually accept, you can't confess that you actually need help. Because people see you as strong, they see you as tough, they see you as what the people need, they see you performing what you're performing well, not realizing that you're also denying things. That part of the reason why you're successful is because it's actually a trauma response. You can't rest, so you don't got nothing else to do.
That's interesting because, you know, for me, when you was like, oh, we can't heal unless we pay our bills, Janice kind of made a similar video and was like, oh, we can't rest in our bodies. Like we do yoga, but we can't rest in our bodies unless, you know, our needs are being met. And while there's some truth to that, for me as a mom who was coming out of poverty, that couldn't be my truth. Because the bills are coming anyway, baby. And they ain't gonna stop. The oppression is happening anyway, and it ain't gonna stop. So I actually had to do the opposite, where I had to say, fuck these bills. Excuse my language. Because healing had to be my number one priority, no matter what that looks like. Because in my mind, you can give everybody $1 million. Everybody $1 million. The money's still gonna wind up in the same people's hands because it's about how we spend our money. It's about our mindset around money, right? So when we talk about that and we talk about healing the mind and we talk about a mindset, you get what I'm
I do. You know, I also say that people can't heal because they have to worry about their bills, not because they got to pay them.
Okay.
You know, when I chose to say fuck it to my bills, I was able to afford my healing. You know, because I was able to then begin to trust the miracle, not trust in my overexhaustion, my over depletion. I had to trust that a resource is available and I don't have to always be the resource. You know, something profound that you said too, though. I remember when I lost my mind just in time in 2022 from exhaustion. Oh my goodness, I'm working a suicide line. I'm up here helping so many people. I'm 24 hours and 24 hours in to the point that I've had a sleepwalking episode. And end up, cause not everybody, child. Guess to tell the truth, it was a dream. But tell you the dream Baba had. But went off on the folks, wrecked my car and everything. And I had an elder come here, an elder who was just tired of me not being grounded inside of me, right? And one of the things she said was like, son, well, first she said, didn't that feel good? She said that I've lost my mind many of times before and it was the most freeing thing ever. And that gave me permission to actually lose my mind and stop looking for where I lost it to try to pick it back up. To be okay with the fact that now my head is clear. Now that I'm out my mind just in time, that means I got room to hear, right? Then she said, though, but I need you to get back up because I need you to act like a black woman. And black women don't have time to be depressed. Black women don't have time to be down. They have to get up and keep moving. And even though it was words of strength that she was trying to bestow upon me. And even now, I hear aspects of it, and I use it to inspire me to do even more.
Mm-hmm.
But in that time, I had to do the opposite because
Mm-hmm.
it was actually horrible that an elder black woman was telling me that the best example that she can give to lift me off the ground and put me back into strength was a black woman, a person who doesn't have permission to feel, to heal, to do any fucking thing. And said it to me so naturally that I said, I don't know what my face was giving, but it was just like, this is a nightmare. You know, and on behalf of black women, I'm going to choose rest, and I'm going to turn around and get the black woman to say, come rest with me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But goodness, you know, so you have to trust. You also have to let go. Sometimes the life you live in is a life that other people told you to have, or the life that you thought would be acceptable if other people saw you living. So therefore, you're paying bills for things that don't even matter and going into debt.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so maybe your healing requires you to get on fucking Section 8.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because maybe I don't need to afford all this damn square footage. Maybe it could be this. Maybe it could be something else. Maybe your healing requires you to get over trying to be like the Joneses and keeping up with the status quo.
Let me tell
So,
you, not to interrupt, but no, because this is like so relevant because like the very first time when I had to go apply for TANF and food stamps, I literally had a nervous breakdown. Like I thought that I was going to break that generational curse. And why did I say that a resource that was given to our community is a curse? Because we shame each other so much for using the same resources that were given to us to help us get into a place of thriving. And it could be because, don't get me wrong, you have, you know, your small percentage of people who they be like, oh, well, you know, people get on TANF and food stamps and they be on it their whole life and they get stuck on it and this, that, and the third. But what they don't talk about is the Marionberry welfare to work program and how many women who was on welfare as soon as they got them good government jobs went and bought nice ass houses, was able to send their kids. Everyone I know sent their kids to college, nice cars. They were able to move into a place of thriving when those programs were designed to help them to do so. So to what you were saying is just like, it's just so relevant to the fact of like, yeah, like, of course, we shame these same resources. And it had to be people who tell me like, it's okay. You not gonna, your mindset you have, trust me, you ain't gonna be on this shit for your whole life. You're not gonna be that person. But I still struggled a whole lot because, and I don't know if that had anything to do with like wanting to keep up with the Joneses or whatever the case may be. But I just know that I think it was the spirit of poverty that I wanted to break. Like, I'm the only entrepreneur in my family. Like, my dad was, he was in a blind vendors program, so he had like a store or whatever. But outside of that, him and my aunt, but on my mom's side, like, everybody good government jobs. When I first told my mother I wanted to get a government job, she was like, I wanted to be an entrepreneur. She started sending me all these jobs. Like, what? Entrepreneur? That's not stability. That's not safe. So
yeah, no, I had a woman, an elder, who was the matriarch who recently lost millions and was the one who financed so many other people that people didn't understand that she lost millions and didn't know what to do. And I had to go with her. You know, the Baba does many things, but I literally had to go with her to that office to fill out that paperwork, to console her, to be with her, because the fact that she had to receive food stamps, the fact that she had to receive Medicaid. In other words, the fact that she needed to eat and go to the doctor felt embarrassing. It was so much shame put on it, and for her more so because she worked to overcome those stigmas, and all of a sudden something happens in life, and now she's back there, and she was amongst the same people that she served, so she did not know how to confess to herself that it was going to be okay.
that's
Instead,
real.
she had a nightmare of whatever, and also heard the voices of whoever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I
Yeah.
had to be with her for that.
Yeah.
Which is real. Like there is shame about having ancestral reparations funded through the government. What does that mean? Medicating your food stamps. No, there's shame in needing TANF. What is it? Reparations or resources? Whatever R word you wish to use. You know, there is shame, and I don't know why there's shame there. You know, But that's a mental health issue. Back to spirituality, right? If you ashamed of admitting that your truth is because so many people abuse you for having a need. So can we eradicate shame and having a need? Asking for help is a gift that I give to myself and others. If I'm afraid to give myself the acts of help that I can't receive from my own self or from others, you know, and it took, because I also come from a background that to not have will make you pick that pointed out and talked about by others. You know, so I had to overcome other people's trauma that they assigned to me in order to trust that it was okay when I actually needed help.
That's real. You also said something about, I wanted to talk about not being able, the question about can we heal if we're constantly being cycled in and out of crisis. And I wanted to take it back to the very first mental health diagnosis they came up with was when the slaves was running away from the plantation, right? And it was like, fuck the fact we beating them, we raping them, we selling their kids.
The fact that I
We,
won't submit to what don't make no sense means
but they're
I'm
running away,
insane.
so they must be crazy. They must be crazy. And it just makes me think, like, fast forward, right? Because things don't change, they just evolve. They don't go away, they just evolve. So fast forward now, hello, oppression equals mental health. Still to today, we are feeling the pressures of the oppression. We are feeling the pressures of no affordable homes. Even when men come home from prison, it is so hard for Black men to get their own place, even if they don't go to prison. It is so hard for Black men to get a place, but especially if they go to prison. So, and that's majority of a lot of people in DC. So when we talk about like housing, when we talk about, again, just like our mental health and being cycled in and out of crisis, how do we sustain?
Awareness is king. So in order to not be recycled in and out of crisis, you got to be aware that they're recycling you, right? Awareness is king. Also, some things are presented to you from different vantage points for you to learn a different side of the game. You know, so everything ain't trauma. Everything ain't trying to get you. It's just that, hey, maybe the last time I said I'll get out of this, I said I'll spend every extra 20 I get and pay a bill with it. Instead, I got hungry, went out to eat and went shopping. So now I'm back in a situation because, I chose to relearn something from what this is as crisis, right? That's one vantage point, right? I feel like the city, the citizens, the people of DC, the natives of DC, the chocolate of the city should sue the United States government for civil damages because they left the city behind. And a space is there to advertise to the rest of the world that no child is going to be left behind. A space to declare to say that they're the king of the free world, yet the people was done so wrong, gravely disjustice that happened to the people here, so much so that they don't even realize that they've been cycled inside these crises, that they've been codependent on certain systems. That even though you went through all this trauma in your low income neighborhood and you experienced the death of 4 sons, that someone should have got you out. And that someone, and that didn't have to happen from you having to ask for it. That the ANC or the person that somebody, the Democratic committee, shout out to it, somebody should have knocked on that door and said, hey baby, you can't be here no more. The community healer should have been informed that, hey, there's been a shooting, there's been a something in Baba, we need you to show up and do something because we gotta shift, you know? People with awareness can choose to get out. Earth is about free will, right? If you lack awareness and ignorance is bliss, you're going to continue to be cycled. And also you're going to be so traumatized by it that you don't even realize that it's going to be crisis no more. It's going to feel like it's going to be normalized. So we ain't bringing awareness to the people. And we ain't letting you know that your back hurt is a bigger symptom. Your back hurt also because your head hurt. You know, so it's an interesting space because A lot of folks who come to me don't even realize they need me. You know, the amount of people I have to talk to and let them understand what it is that I do or how I can be beneficial, or that it is worth them saving their happy hour money to see me instead. If you really want to get happy, you know. So if there's not awareness, if the neighborhood medicine man is still felt treated as taboo, people are still scared of what's natural for them. Again, that same first mental health diagnosis was still given by the same people who said, now this Bible that I put before you, now be afraid of statues, now be afraid of anything that's from earth, now be afraid of the drum, now outlaw all this stuff and submit to your master. And then because they still didn't submit, they must be crazy. Because I even gave them a God. They believe in gods. They have multiple gods, so they believe in God, but yet they're not submitting to our God, so something must be crazy about them. You know, so because, again, if I say that black folks need 600 years off as a mental health break, so therefore their children is not born with this, then I cannot expect instant results from people who've been born and re-indoctrinated through the birth canal into the same bullshit. So sometimes that's the cycle of crisis. So how what is a blow up the clinic, blow up the dope house in a sense? You know?
Yeah.
So call out the people who getting funded and not doing the work. Blow it up, crisis. It's like we got to blow up these spots in a sense. You know what I mean? Because we're not blowing up these spots, then there ain't a place that's trying to funnel them.
Yeah, that's real. So that brings me to one of my last questions about how does healing and politics go hand in hand together? I know for me, I feel like a lot of times we don't even know we're oppressed. We don't even know that, like you said, like we kind of become desensitized to, like, you sit in shit long enough, you stop smelling it, right? And I feel like when we talk about even trauma being stored in the womb, that dates all the way back to, 14 generations. That goes all the way back to when we were enslaved. How does you running as committee man going to play a good part in the healing work that's being done?
When it came to politics at the time, we needed equal rights. We need to be acknowledged as human. We need to be let you know that I'm a man. Politics, we had to be strategic at the time when it came to politics. So politics never had a healing component. You know, if I get you education, you're gonna think you healed, right? If I get you a good government job, you're gonna think you healed, right? If I get you to learn how to save money so you can buy that house, I'm gonna think that you healed. So therefore, you have people who achieve these things who still don't feel whole on the inside, right? Who still are birthed in cycles of abuse inside that same household, right behind those closed doors. You know, so the fact that politics has never been about your healing, because if I give you permission, if there's a possibility that you can be healed, then there's a possibility that you might not need me.
Well, remember the Black Panthers started off with as their own political party. They were doing free breakfast. So they were bringing, some politics to our Black power. You get what I'm saying? So
they have been doing that, and there's been a lot of parties that's been created and not properly acknowledged, funded, or have been
and dismantled. It was dismantled. Yeah.
But assassinated is better. Taken out. So interestingly enough, me running for the Democratic Party and me coming from a long line of healers who have done great work within the Democratic Party, you know, I think it's time to return healing to politics, right? If we want to set our people free, we want to get people to go vote. If we want people to understand, to be involved, then we have to let them know that right now it's okay, but they're not well. You know, and right now, let's create time and create spaces for them to be well. Let's begin to fund their rest. Let's begin to fund their healing. Let's begin to fund their grief. So therefore, they can actually understand what politics is doing and the reason why you maybe should vote for me.
Yeah, that's real. That's real. Well, is there anything else you feel like you want people to know? Anything that you feel like I might have missed? It's been a very, very good conversation. I feel like we'll have many more. This is just the tip of the iceberg of how healing plays a part in a lot of the things that we experience in community and a lot of the oppression. For me, I will say that although I'm still oppressed in many ways, I'm not oppressed in many ways as well, because my healing and my self-awareness have shown me like what the oppression is. Like, my whole goal is liberation. Like, that's why I teach yoga. That's why I'm like, and if we ain't liberated, we ain't getting no money. We can't get the money because we too traumatized and we scanning the money away.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why we can't
Yeah.
keep the jobs.
Yeah.
That's why we can't stay in school.
That's why we can't be in community, because we're traumatized from love, so we don't even know that somebody's actually coming to love us, because everybody else have done wrong by us under the disguise of love, you
Man.
know? So again, if you are experiencing lack, if you have no lack in your life, but you have lack on the inside, then this is about you healing. Healing is having to admit that something is wrong, but I also feel like you're gonna be healing until you're dead. So if you're healed, you're dead, complete. So you're healing. There's nothing wrong with healing. My hair growing is healing. My skin being beautiful, baby, it's healing, because these follicles has the following, whatever that word is. Can't think of the word, in order to rejuvenate, in order to be here, right? So don't be ashamed, and don't shame others for the fact that healing needs to take place. We've been so angry at our mothers. We've been so angry at our grandmothers. We've been so angry at the elders that we did not take the time to understand the medicine that they brought forth. How did they escape you out of South Carolina and get you to DC? What did they do to be able to be here? You can speak.
No, I was about to say, some of them didn't have the medicine. The medicine was bringing you here with the medicine, right?
Listen.
And not bullying them for not knowing something that only you can teach them.
You talking about grandma's food.
Only you can teach me.
So we ain't about to go there, So again, we're not understanding. We don't know what has taken place, so we shame everything that's different. If you are embracing your freedom, my thing is freedom, your thing is liberation. So if freedom and liberation is choosing you and you're choosing it, then someone else's freedom is not a threat for you. So also think about that, because healing is politics. And the fact that there are people in my neighborhood, there are people like me. I'm not exempt from a disconnect notice. Shout out to folks that voted for them not to cut the lights out, because maybe my lights would be out. I spend resources on community. I come from a place where we funded the healing and we funded the things. My grandmother sat across boardrooms and said, if you do not have no money, shut the fuck up. And she sat in rooms full of men and said that I'm going to speak because you all don't want to hear me speak, but you want me to write the check. I come from people who funded the work and wasn't afraid to write the check. So I came trying to follow my people's footsteps, bankrupt myself, but yet I'm still showing up for the people. So the first money I get is for the people. I'm going to feed you. How you going to lay down? I know that you don't got it, but you need it. Here. Maybe I'll call a friend who can finance it. Maybe I'll trust in my giving to you that a miracle will show up for me. You know what I mean? So like, in this season, it's about getting your ass back to the grass so you can acknowledge your roots. It's not about trying to be up, trying to be tall as a tree. It's about remembering that we all started from the ground, started from the bottom, that we're here. We all started from a place of a seed. And the seed didn't know what it would be. And it had the sprouts, so we all started from sprouts. And your sprout turned into grass, your sprout turned into weeds, your sprout turned into a tree, your sprout turned into a flower. But we all was in the ground together. You know what I mean? So we're here. We're here being what the ancestors chose for us. Some of us are actually being what the ancestors chose for us and not been afraid of the voice of spirit. So don't demonize that. Don't attack it. Don't call it a witch. Don't be afraid that their presence make you feel yourself. Get into feeling yourself. And if you feel yourself, you will understand what the need is for yourself. You will understand what the need is for everyone else collectively, cooperatively. I'm just a black man living my freedom and helping people be free too. I'm not from DC. I don't come from poverty, so I could choose to live in Bowie if I wanted to. But what good is that to do for the people? What good is, again, I say I started here because if I have gifts that can liberate people, if I have a medicine bag full of mental, emotional, and spiritual freedom, so much so that if you eat from that, then you could tap into yourself right now, then why dare I be unreachable? I bees in the trap, bees in the trap, the bee. You know, 16th and U, Chopper City. You know, the same way that Jesus was around people that other people judged, and now that they the prophets and saints that you got to call on. So watch yourself. Um, and that's why healing is a politic right now,
Yeah.
east of the river.
Yeah.
The fact that we don't even realize that healing is connected to politics, but we just feel like that if I get that job, I'll be okay. You'll get that job and you're tired. Now you can't even do the job. They don't even know how to advocate yourself for the job because now you know that you black with a job, but you don't know how to keep a job because you black with a job. They always try to take you out. Like, come on now. Yeah, if I can give you presents. Love lights its own path and never gets lost on the way home. So sometimes, yes, you might have to leave home, prodigal child, in order to be able to heal. But at some point, we got to turn to those communities to get the ghost, even if it's the ghost of you, off those streets, in order to complete the cycle of healing.
I say. Well, thank you so much. This has been just a dope episode on just politics and healing and how they both play hand in hand together. One thing I will say is how healing has helped me advocate differently than other advocates, where I don't feel the need to be at every protest. I don't feel the need to be at every little thing to where my nervous system is constantly disrupted. So now I'm a little bit more strategic and I'm able to save myself before I hit that point of drowning. And so people ask me and they'll be like, how do you deal with the work? How do you deal with the work? Because our people crazy. Our people are little, you know what I'm saying? How do you do it? I'm like, I don't get sucked in. You know, like I show up, I'm there. It's like being in the world, but not being of it. You know what I'm saying? So I think you kind of have to do the same thing when it comes to politics and fighting a fight, just because this is not nothing new. And hopefully we get to see some changes, but we might not get to see it until our grandkids are, growing up. So just knowing that and having that in mind has just helped me. So thank y'all for tuning in for a great episode. And thank you so much because that was great.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Peace.